are listening to the Pathfinder Guru Podcast, where we help you to become a greater leader. Join us as we take the Advent message to all the world in our generation. So, are you ready to become a guru in this ministry?
Attention! Welcome to the Pathfinder Guru Podcast, and thank you very much for joining us. I hope that you're doing well, and thank you again for joining us. I love appreciating people that take time out of their busy schedule to listen to a podcast so that they are able to get some tips and tricks so that they can become better leaders, not only for themselves but also for their clubs. That is a beautiful thing that you can do. It is an investment that you're doing towards your own local Pathfinder club, adventurer club, even the senior youth side of it, because at the end of the day, the Pathfinder ministry is the mother of all ministries. That's why we even named the podcast the Pathfinder Guru, meaning that we are assisting one another to become gurus of this ministry. Because once I know something, you know something, we are able to pass it on to somebody else. All of us become the gurus of this ministry, so that when all is said and done, we may preach, teach, baptize in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In today's episode, we are going to talk about how to prepare for a Pathfinder Fair. How to prepare for a Pathfinder Fair. Now, in the ministry, we have a beautiful thing called the Pathfinder Fair, where we come to show off our skills, to show off our talents, to really show that we as a club, we are coordinated, we work as a team, we love one another. It is a beautiful thing that you can do as a director, is that to ensure that you go to a Pathfinder club, or rather a Pathfinder Fair. You go to a Pathfinder Fair. Now, most of the time when we talk about Pathfinder Fair, people just think that no, we're just going to go there, we just read the manual, we're just going to participate. But it's more than that. You need to be invested in all this. You need to understand the planning, the logistics, the mind that needs to go when you are going to a Pathfinder Fair. And today I'm going to talk to you about how to prepare. How to prepare yourself. It may not be a full topic on how to prepare, but it will be a guideline so that you know and you are taking note of, to say that if I'm preparing for a Pathfinder Fair, what are things that I need to take note of? What are things that I need to start so that things become much more easier? Don't find yourself that you're only left with a month to the fair and you're only now preparing, because once you do that, it becomes difficult to get your club ready, and there's disappointments, there's fear, there's anxiety. But if you do it correctly, your children, your Pathfinders, your adventurers will enjoy the Pathfinder Fair. Trust me when I say it is a beautiful thing to experience. Now, the things that you need to do. Firstly, you need to review the fair manual. Reviewing the fair manual is the first step to the right direction. You sit down with your committee, with your council, you look at the manual. You understand that when is it? You understand the location and the events and all other things that are noted in the manual. Once you do this, it helps you to understand your timeline, things that you need to prepare quickly, things that need to be bought, things that need to be fundraised for, and things that you do not have, and things that you do have. It makes it smooth to know that, because you are utilizing the fair manual that is clearly guiding you in what things you need to have and things that you do not need to have. You sit down. It's happening on the 25th of June, 2024. The location is 300 kilometers away from where we are. That means you're going to need a transportation. How are we getting there? You need to have all those things calculated, so that you need to know, what do we need to start with as a leader, so that delegations may happen, and somebody who's going to be responsible to know that, okay, fine, we are having The events, what are needed on the events? We need 1, 2, 3. Do we have them? No, we only have the Gideon flags, but we do not have the Gideon poles. So we need to get the poles. I'm just making an example. So you utilize the manual to guide you in everything that you need to have on time, so that you're able to establish your budget, you're able to establish things that you need and things that you already have. It becomes much more easier. Now, after that, you determine your budget, all things that you're going to need. Once you've gotten the transport, once you've gotten each and everything that is needed, the person who's going to cook, if it's not a day fair, but it's more than a day, like 2 days or 3 days, how are you going to cater for that? You need to have your budget in place. How many children do we have? How many children do not afford to go? Or funds should we raise for certain individuals? Note each and everything so that you're well prepared. And once you're well prepared, people who give away with money or people that donate with funds or who are helping love people that are prepared. Because people who are prepared show that they are ready to do the work and they understand what they want and how they are planning on getting it. And when you approach certain people, when you approach certain church members in the church asking for donations and assistance, they will help you because you are clear on your goal, you know your weaknesses, you know your strengths, and they are able to pop out funds towards you and your club going to the Pathfinder Fair. But if you don't do this, when they ask you, what is your budget? When they ask you, how far are you with transport? Do you have 3 codes for us that we can look at? You do not have nothing. What do you need? What equipments do you still need? And if you can't answer that, it shows that you are not accountable as a leader. But if you are a serious leader, a leader that is focused and willing and driven, you will know what is needed. You will know what you have, and you will understand how many children do not have a tent. How many children do have a tent? Does the church have a tent? Do we need to request for the church to borrow us a tent? Or do we have other people that can lend us a tent? But if you are not well organized, you won't have such things in mind. You'll be planning, working on anxiety. By the way, I need to buy this. By the way, we do not have a tent on the 11th hour because you're not well prepared. Evaluate the manual. Determine the budget that you need. List of things that you have or do not have so that you make it much more easier for you to do what? To plan and execute, and if there's assistance that is needed. Now you have evaluated the manual. You know your budget and everything. What then do? You promote the Pathfinder Fair to parents because you now understand what is needed. You are able to say, parents, we have a camp that is coming. The transport is this. We need people who are going to volunteer because some children do not have certain things. So we need somebody who's going to volunteer in buying the scarf or in buying the pin. You ensure that everyone has the uniform. Everyone is in order. But you don't bring half things to parents because parents want to feel sure. Parents want to know that you are on the ball. You're doing what needs to be done and you understand what you're doing. But if you're going to bring half stories, you are not sure, you are not aware. If they ask you what fair events are you going to have and you cannot answer for that, what things are needed, you cannot answer and account for that, then you are not prepared as a leader to present to parents or to promote the final pricing and what everything that will be needed. So it is upon you as a leader in your committee to ensure that everything runs smoothly. Then after that, you start training children. You need to start training children because they need to prepare themselves for the fair. And you can only do this once you understand things that are needed. Because if you know things that are needed and things that you have and things that you need to buy, you can start with things that you are able to do with whatever you have. Meanwhile, you're preparing to buy other things so that once you get them, they're able to train with them. I'm not going to talk about how to select people who are going to do events. That is going to be on another episode so that we can talk in depth on how to do it and how to do it correctly. But now I'm talking about training them because when you train everyone. If you have a club of 50, you train everyone because at the end of the day, should something happen to the certain people that you have selected, it becomes a problem. So train them, make them understand, check them, help them. Meanwhile, and on time. And once you do that, they are able to gain confidence knowing that, the fair is in the next 3 months. That means I have much time, ample time to practice and, polish my skills in tying the knots, polish my skills in drilling, whatever that will be part of the events. You are polishing it, you're making it to be beautiful because they have enough time. But if you're going to do it 2 months within, a month to the fair, you are not doing justice. And the last and important one is that we need to pray and counsel the children. We may take this lightly, but counseling is very much important when we go to the Pathfinder Fair. You have counselors, you have elders and pastors who need to speak to the children because there's a lot that goes in preparing. You are carrying the whole club on top of your shoulders as a Pathfinder when you are doing the activities because they give out points. How do you deal with that? If something happens and they make a mistake, how do we work as a club not to feel discouraged? That's the things that you need to address. Because if somebody ties the knot wrong or whatever happens along the way and it tends to become negative from that event going to other events, which causes you to lose even much more points because of some Pathfinders or a Pathfinder that made a mistake, honestly so, and did the wrong knot or tied it wrong. Cancel them individuals if you have to or in certain groups, and cancel the whole club. Speak to people that will be there going with them to the Pathfinder Fair because you won't see them, all of them, at the singular time. But if you have leaders who are also prepared to deal with the counseling, even at the fair itself, you are able to bring that positivity. And we should not forget prayer. Once we pray for them, we go down on our knees, we ask God that, God, here are your children. They've been practicing, they've been training, but now it is the moment that they need to go to fair, to play, to participate with other Pathfinders from other clubs. Be with them. Guide them and protect them because we need to ask God to be within everything. Let us not forget this important part, prayer and counseling. And once we've done that, you are now ready to go to the fair. You are prepared to go to the fair and to do your best to understand the level of your club, to push as hard as you can so that when all is said and done, all honor and glory may go to God. But for now, as we are pushing, working hard for this ministry, let us remember, He is with us. You are dismissed.